Hi, welcome to the Urban Schoolhouse where school is cool. I am Ebony,
And I'm Chelsea.
and we are here today to talk about a topic that affects some of our students. It may affect some of us at some points or another in our lives, and it's a sensitive topic, and it's about being unhoused.
Yes.
And it's getting cold
Yeah.
here where we are in Michigan, and we want to make sure we give information so people know their rights if they experience housing insecurities. And we're going to learn about housing insecurities versus being unhoused. And we're going to learn about the McKinney-Vento Act. And we're going to talk about some academic impacts and supports, maybe that.
Holistic impact because academics, but um, there's so much more um, like holistically that impacts um, anyone, but especially children or school age children when they're experiencing housing insecurity or homelessness.
Yeah, for sure. Also, the socio-economical impact. No, I'm sorry, the social-emotional impact that it has on students and the families, and physical health too.
Yes.
So, um, as we talk about these things, I guess it's just important to remember that this could be affecting someone you know. So you should pass this information along, and hopefully we can get information to people who really do need it.
Yeah. So, as a school social worker so far, I've encountered some students facing housing insecurity, and it's not always just, oh, they're out on the street, they have no money. I feel like there's a big stereotype and stigma when people think about people who are unhoused. Um, but for example, last year I had a student that had a house fire.
Right.
So it's not always, just
I
what,
can't pay my bills.
yeah, it's not always that type of issue.
That's certainly true.
Yeah.
And here, where we live in the urban setting, sometimes parents who are renting, the owner of the homes, they decide to sell the homes, and then the parents are needing a home immediately.
Yeah.
So, things like that can happen. And then also domestic violence,
Mhm.
where unfortunately a mother may have to pick up and leave, or a father may have to pick up and leave. And it doesn't have to be with just a relationship, it could be with any family members.
Yeah. So I think just like it's not always an economic reason. Sometimes just unfortunate events happen.
Right.
Um, but going back to like cases of domestic violence, um, things of that nature. So the first thing that I want to touch on was the difference between housing insecurity and being unhoused or being homeless. So first of all, housing insecurity is more so like couch surfing, going from place to place. You don't really have a stable place. You don't really know where you're gonna sleep at every single night. That's housing insecurity. Um, versus being unhoused, and I say unhoused, you're gonna hear me say that more than being homeless because unhoused is more of a modern person first term because I feel like again going back to people especially in America we have an idea of what an unhoused person is and it's very much putting the blame on the person, seeing it as a personal issue versus a systemic issue, a systemic failure versus a
Mhm.
personal failure
Mhm.
of being unhoused.
Right.
Because people who have degrees are unhoused. People
Right.
who have jobs are unhoused.
Right.
It's not like they're just it's not the idea that people have in their head all the time.
Right.
So I say unhoused because it's more person first, and it's not looking at it like a personal failure. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I agree. It gives dignity to the
Yes.
status,
Yes.
which people deserve.
Regardless of
Yeah.
whether. So
And if you are homeless, understand that you do have dignity. And you
Yes.
don't have to hold your head down. You can walk right into these school buildings and talk about the things that we're going to be talking about today.
And there's people who are unhoused who you wouldn't think are unhoused. Like this is kind of off topic, but I remember it's a comedian, and she used to be unhoused, and she lived in her car, and she was like, you would have never knew because I always still had my nails done, I always still had my hair because I didn't want to look how stereotypical
Homeless.
unhoused person looks. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you never know. It's not always the picture you have in your head.
exactly.
Um, So then moving forward, so the biggest thing with being unhoused in school, this is the biggest thing. If you don't take anything else away, please take away the
The McKinney-Vento
McKinney-Vento
Act.
Act. That is everything.
Let's slow it down. McKinney dash Vento, and it's McKinney. How McKinney is normally spelled M lowercase c and then KINNEY dash Vento VENTO, and it's an act. You want to talk about the act?
Yeah, so
It's an act to protect unhoused students.
so basically the McKinney-Vento Act states that for any public school, um, they are required to take unhoused kids. It doesn't matter where they live. It doesn't none of that matters
Right.
because children have the automatic right to FAPE, free appropriate public education, and that can be anywhere. No public school can deny any student no matter what the circumstances
Right.
are. So,
So you can go to the best of the best of the best neighborhoods and enroll your child if you're homeless or
yes.
unhoused.
Yes. So that's huge. So they have to accept you. It's called immediate enrollment. It's really that's just what it is. That's the law. Kids have to go to school, so that's what it is. Also, they are responsible for finding means of transportation, whether that's a bus coming to get you. If you have a car, um, you know, they have to figure out a way to get you transportation.
They can help with gas cards if you have your own car.
Yes.
Um,
I've seen hotel vouchers.
I've
Uh
seen those.
yeah.
I've seen the like I said the car gas cards and also gift cards for like Meyer or grocery stores.
Yeah.
And some well that's a whole nother topic, but if you have transportation to and from school, then you don't need some of those things. But if you don't, then you may. And also, I've seen vouchers where people get their cars fixed.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, when I was working in the city.
Yeah. So they are responsible for helping find these things, and the person you're going to go to would be your homeless liaison. Every public school district has a homeless liaison,
Hmm.
and they're the ones that have this information. But as a social worker myself, there's a whole McKinney-Vento like Google Drive, and it's a bunch of resources that we all have access to. So, as a social worker, I would try to help them, and I would also point them in the direction of the homeless liaison as well. But we do have access to some of those things as well, like diaper drives, clothing drives,
Coats,
coats, food,
backpacks, school
back.
supplies,
Yeah, like at my school, we have a boxes of backpacks.
socks, underwear.
Yeah, so public schools have these. They
Oh,
have
and
these things.
uniforms.
Yeah, if the school has
Yeah,
uniforms.
if
Yeah.
they require uniforms. And if they don't require uniforms, then they have clothes.
Yes. So all those things, and of course the student still gets the same treatment. They still get the same access to everything that any other student would have. Free breakfast, free lunch, snacks.
And you know what else I found out?
Hmm.
That if there are any costs associated with them participating
Oh yeah,
in
it gets waived,
sports,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So if they have to pay for like a band instrument or a uniform for a sport and they have to pay to play or anything like that, it all gets waived.
Yeah.
And if you're in high school, then you can let the counselors know, and then they can get the applications for college waived, the applications for standardized testing waived. Just talk it up, I guess.
Yes, and it's things that kind of how my mom was saying earlier. It's things that you wouldn't know unless you were going through it yourself. As a student, I definitely didn't know about this. I had one boy that I went to school with that was unhoused, but nobody really like. It was like, oh, he lives in his car, or he lives in his parents' car. Okay, and like it was just kind of like out the window, but yeah, it's things that you wouldn't know unless I feel like you were probably in that position or you had a job position where you needed to know these things. But yeah, I'll say
Well,
that.
after those kids died in that car, I just don't even like to hear people living in a car
Oh yeah.
in the city. It
Mhm.
was like these kids who were living in the car with their mom, and I think
It
they
was
had the
cold.
car running because it was cold
Yeah.
and the carbon monoxide, I guess, like killed them. Yeah, while they were sleeping or something like
I don't
that.
remember, but it was something to
It was
that
just very,
extent.
very sad. So if you're
Especially
listening,
when their father had a house.
oh, their father had a house.
Yes.
Well, I
So
know
that's a whole
also
other
that they
thing.
went to the city for help too and were
They
denied
did,
help.
yeah. And that's another thing. It's like it's such a double-edged sword. Um, being in this line of work for me personally. I don't know how you feel because um I don't know how you feel because it's like I can give the resources, but I don't know if there's capacity. I don't know
Yeah.
if they're out. I don't, it's like I don't know.
And then it's like very contingent
Yeah,
because I know when I worked in the city, there was a service called
yeah, I've
COTS,
heard of that.
and it's for shelters. And every day it's like you just have to show up there. You can't, or you have to call like daily, and you never know when there's an availability. You kind of have to like spend your day trying to make sure you have a spot there.
Mm.
So it can be hard. That's why I always say try to contact the homeless
And some
liaison.
shelters have rules. Like I have colleagues that they have clients or whatever that gotten kicked out of shelters, and they're like, okay, well, I can't find you another place because it's getting cold. They're
Yeah.
all getting full. There's rules to these places. It's a lot. It's a lot
So I
to
mean, you
think
want to
about.
find all types of warming centers
Mhm.
and churches that have you know facilities for people who could be experiencing unhoused situations.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
moving on, moving on from that, going about the impacts that it has on students. I don't really work with the academic part of it, but I know that my mom does. Um, Dealing with the academic impact of being unhoused. I think the biggest thing is like the attendance.
absolutely, because of the transportation.
Hmm.
That's why it's provided through the
Or they're
LTAC.
moving around. You know.
Yeah, transients,
Hmm.
because they don't really have a permanent location, so they might be over here one day, over here the next day.
Hmm.
Definitely. So attendance and transiency. Then also sometimes kids that are in this situation have, experienced and feeling, tired during the day,
Oh yeah.
sleeping in class, and not able to, complete their homework because they don't have a desk. They don't have lights after a certain time sometimes. They don't have the things that they need. So they come to school with incomplete work,
No
no
materials.
materials, and things of this
And
nature.
that goes back to one of our very first conversations. People were putting about school supplies. This is one of the reasons that extra school supplies
Matter.
comes in handy, and it
It
matters.
does matter.
So it all comes full circle.
Because a lot of times, like I said, it depends on how you had to leave your home.
Mhm.
Some kids have to leave everything they have because they're leaving home for in different ways. So they might not be able to have all their school supplies or toys or hygiene
Clothes,
items. And
hygiene.
sometimes they come to school smelly and things of that
They wear
nature.
the same things every single
Mhm.
day.
Mhm.
I've seen teachers like like take wash their students' clothes. So
Yeah.
you
And
know.
some schools have washing machines and dryers.
Ours doesn't. They have it at I think like the district
So
office or
that's something
something.
to ask about as well,
Yeah.
because some schools actually do.
Mhm.
And they will wash the clothes or wherever. And so if you can't get your clothes washed, that's also something to take to the homeless liaison.
Yes, because somewhere in the district, somebody can make it happen.
Exactly.
Yeah, loss of materials kind of goes back to what we were just saying. It depends on how they had to leave. They just might not have it if they're constantly moving from place to place.
Which is also hard sometimes because now a lot of the students have Chromebooks.
Oh yeah,
And not only do you need your Chromebook, but you also need your charger
and Wi-Fi.
and Wi-Fi in
Hmm.
order to be able to connect and complete your work. So sometimes that's a struggle. And I have also seen the school issue out a Wi-Fi. What do you call those? Where you could like hook the Wi-Fi up to your computer, like an external,
Hotspot.
maybe yeah, a hotspot. So if you need Wi-Fi for your student, you can also ask for a hotspot, and the
Yeah,
school
what?
district
Yeah,
should
well,
be
what do
able to
they do for
provide
that?
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something.
I mean if they're requiring your child to do work online,
They have to have a way
then
for
they
them
have
to
the way for
access
you to.
it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, So then the social emotional impact, I think also, I mean, this goes for any grade, but I feel like especially when you get to like middle school, high school, there's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of anxiety about being unhoused or experiencing housing insecurity. And then I also want to point out for social emotional that students of color are more likely to be unhoused. Students with disabilities are more likely to be unhoused disproportionately, and also teenage girls who are pregnant, and also lastly LGBTQ plus students. Though all those groups of people are disproportionately more likely to be unhoused than their white counterparts. Um, for different reasons. I mean, LGBTQ plus probably maybe got kicked out for identifying how they are. Pregnancy, same thing, probably got kicked out. Um, Black people on average, at the black household on average makes disproportionately less money than white households,
Hmm.
so they are more likely to experience financial hardships. So that's another reason. And black students, parents are more likely to work like blue collar, like customer service, like those types of jobs, like lower paying jobs, in comparison to their white counterparts as well. So those are all reasons. And students with disabilities, again, same thing.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, anything you want
Yeah.
to add to that?
Well, I just think that the loss of materials is one thing, but the loss of stability is another. You know what I mean? Like it's the same. When you lose your home, it's a loss of stability, and that is something that is profound. And it leads us into our next topic, which is about the socio emotional impact
Hmm.
that
A
this
lot of
could
the
bring.
times, what I realized, even in my short time working in the school, is that for a lot of students, school is the only consistency
That's why school is
that they
cool.
have.
That's why school is
Mhm.
cool. I mean, not to be corny, but school is the foundation
Mhm.
for kids. And that's why we say feeding them because of these reasons.
It's the only, and I've had kids tell me this is the only, like this is their consistency. They come, they know what's gonna happen every day. They know who they're gonna see.
Right.
They know what's gonna happen. And they know that they're gonna get fed. It's like they know what's going on.
Some kids act like it's the only hug they get
Yeah,
when they get, to the school.
yeah,
I've had kids run down the hall giving me a hug, which is so sweet, but it's like, do you miss me that much, or are they giving
yeah,
you good hugs at home?
yeah. It's like some kids you talk to, you could tell that they're not really like listened to at home, and
Yeah.
they'll just blab off.
Hmm.
It's like they're just so excited that somebody is like listening to
And
them.
talking back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the anxiety that goes along with it could look like a whole lot of things. It could
Mhm.
look like sleeping in class. It could look like being mean to friends. It could look like being a behavioral concern. It could look like not eating. It could look like overeating.
Mhm.
It could look like so many different things depending on how small the child is. It could look like, accidents, potty accidents.
Oh yeah. Shame. Shame is a big one. Again, going along with the stigma of being unhoused. Like, oh, you're poor. Oh, your clothes smell. Her hair ain't done. It's like the shame and the stigma that comes with that, especially for a child who might not fully understand what's going on. Um, Difficulty forming relationships is.
Let's go back to shame.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Because I just want to say also, kids are ashamed when they don't have what they need. So when they come in the room without a pencil, they feel
And
shame.
everybody else got a pencil.
When they come in the room without the homework, they feel shame. When they don't have a permission slip or the money to go on the field trip, they feel shame. All these things cause shame, not just the way they look on the outside, but also just the way they know how
Like
they
this is
don't
what I'm
have what
supposed to
they
have.
need on the
Yeah.
inside. And things like picture day, those type of things bring it out. It
Mhm.
brings it out, the shame. So it's good that if you're an educator listening to us, that you look for that type of thing. Some kids come to school with their Sunday best on for picture day, and some kids don't even come with money to take a picture, let alone an outfit. So maybe plan fun activities and things that will help those types of kids that can't participate to feel good about themselves. And they still take a picture and everything like that, but they
Mhm.
always know the difference.
Yeah. I mean, you could tell. I mean, kids compare themselves, and kids never want to be the one that stands out.
Right,
You want to
especially in a
blend
bad way.
in.
It's okay to stand out in a good way.
Yeah, but it's like you want to blend in.
Yeah, for
Um.
sure. That talk now that
Mhm.
transitions us to difficulty forming relationships.
And I say difficulty. Well, what research shows is that again, when you have so much instability and you're constantly moving, you might build a bond with one person or one teacher, and then you move, and then you go somewhere else, and then you move. It's like you're constantly in transit, and it gets to the point where you might not even want to bond with anyone anymore because you're like, okay, well, I'm probably gonna leave again too,
Right.
you know.
And
Um,
not only with teachers, but also with friends.
Peers, yeah, you're more withdrawn. Um,
And then not only that, sometimes when you're coming into a situation, all the friendships are already formed.
yeah.
And so you're like the one kid no one knows.
Mhm.
And it's kind of hard to stick your foot in that door, especially knowing that you have this housing insecurity in the background, knowing that you may live in a car or with family in a tight situation or in a hotel, and or in a home with no water, or just something that makes you feel insecure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then that kind of ties into behavior. A lot of times children will take their embarrassment out with negative behaviors, or they're more academically withdrawn, stuff like that, just because a lot of times what I've noticed, even like at the elementary level, is that when kids don't know something, or they're trying to distract you from something else,
They.
they'll act up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they'll act up for sure. And then 'cause they rather have the attention on them acting up than what the real problem is.
I've seen it all,
No.
and in terms of what you were talking about earlier, that's why we were in giving the kids snacks multiple times a day.
Mhm.
I know at one point we were giving kids the food that was extra in the lunchroom, instead of throwing it away,
Mm.
we would send it home. So that's another thing you can do, is you can, visit the school and see if they have, food after lunch. They'll likely give it up instead of throwing it away.
Yeah. Um. And then second to last thing is their physical health. Um. Fatigue. They're probably tired because who knows what situation, what their sleeping situation is.
Right.
Um. So probably tired. They got to be have fatigue
So,
from stress.
yeah, and also fatigue from moving.
Yeah.
A lot of times kids have to move every day or
Mhm.
every other day, and that will cause anybody fatigue. Needing to get up early in the morning and go to school, keep up with their academics, or at least to try. They probably have to be helpful at
At home,
home
yeah.
or wherever they're living. And, that's a lot on a child, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And especially if they're hungry. So that leads into the next topic, which is poor nutrition. And obviously, if you're unhoused, you're not able to cook what you would normally cook if you had a home.
Mhm.
So sometimes kids on the run might eat out of bags,
Yeah.
and
Fast
fast
food.
food.
Things that are fast and cheap, basically, and they usually aren't the healthiest things in the world.
Yeah. And, I think that the nutrition can be helped during the school year, but during times like vacations and breaks from school, which are pretty consistent, like
Well,
once a month or something, especially during the holidays. So,
well, my job, they still give out food during breaks.
well, that's good.
Yeah.
And some districts do still give out
Mhm.
food during breaks, but not all do. And I guess
Yeah.
that's one thing that you could look at if you were to be in touch with a homeless liaison, because, during the winter breaks, even spring breaks, and even summer breaks, you never know when this is going to become an issue. So you really kind of need to know what is going on with the services at the schools and when
Yeah.
they can actually give nutrition.
Yeah.
Also, what are some other ways that you could get food? I would say
Food
food
banks.
banks like Forgotten Harvest here where we are,
Gleaners is a big one
and
here.
Gleaners is a big one. Gleaners Food Bank, and we're gonna put some stuff out on our social media, our Instagram. If you follow us on Instagram at Urban Schoolhouse Podcast and check in our stories, we have a multitude of resources at this time, but we will definitely be adding food resources as the holidays draw near, and we know people are, just needing a pick me up in that department. Also, as far as nutrition is concerned, things like vitamins, I think kids go without um, a lot of the times, and water. I hate to say that, but a lot of people don't drink tap water, and water becomes expensive after a while. So, all those types of things contribute to poor nutrition.
Yeah. Um, and then lastly, inconsistent healthcare. That's a big one. I feel like some schools have started to pick up more of an initiative on this. I mean, there's mobile doctors. My job has dentists that come to the school.
Absolutely. And we
Um,
have glasses, a
yeah.
provider that comes out, Vision to Learn.
Yeah, so I think most schools are trying to help bridge that gap as well.
So if you have a student who needs glasses, we do have a resource for you. If you have a student who is in need of the mobile dentist and things like that.
Yeah, it's a company that comes out. And if you're in the Metro Detroit area, I know Wayne State has a mobile medical unit, and you can actually like sign up and request for them to come to your location.
That's really cool.
So things like that. And also, just another tip, like for anyone that might need cheaper dental care, go to a dental school.
UD
Dent-
Mercy.
Dental students will love the practice,
hmm
and it's cheaper. So things
Yeah,
like that.
like if you're going to get a cleaning or something
Mhm.
simple. And so I think it's important also to connect with the school to find out if there's a school nurse
Yeah.
where your child is attending school. I know we have a school nurse right now, and she can provide information and resources and actual hygiene products
Mhm.
and things of that nature, like shampoo, soap, deodorant, lotion, just the small things, pads for girls, and the things that we all need to make it on a daily basis. And the school counselor is also a great person to get to know. because usually we have all of the resources and we can point you in the right direction. Um, we have snacks in our offices. We want to make sure that kids have food and that we are able to help them by issuing it out. Some organizations and churches also issue out food for students. I know my sorority does food for our local schools so that our students don't experience hunger over the weekends. And so check with those local sororities and fraternities, churches. Like I said, do you have any other ideas?
Um,
Because churches have food pantries, they have clothes, and they also may have resources.
yeah, they should at least.
They should.
Uh, yeah,
Maybe the police. I don't know. Like warming stations, they may know where they are throughout the city.
yeah, they probably do. Or any like civic center, like city, city center, community center, whatever you want to call it. They
Hmm.
usually have flyers for those types of things as well. A website that I love, and I will put it on our Instagram, is greatstart.org. For at least for Wayne County, it's literally a one-stop shop for every help
I
you
love
can,
that. I love one stop shops.
yeah, every help you could possibly think of, like diapers, clothing, food, shelters, domestic violence, help you pay your bills. Like it's literally everything in one. Um,
I think the
so
main
that's one.
thing is to always have pride no matter what you are experiencing. You are you and not your situation. And when you go to a child's school, make sure you're connecting with the right people and that you are not afraid to let them know exactly what you need. And they might not be able to get it immediately, but if they don't know, then they won't ever really be able to serve you.
Yes. There's so much out there for to support unhoused families. And I know it might be difficult to ask for that type of help, but it's out there. So just know you are able to get help, and no matter what your housing situation is, you still have rights, and your child still has rights.
Definitely, you have rights. And if you're not being treated fairly, then you need to find out how to file a complaint if a school is not doing what they need to do in terms of following the law, the McKinney-Vento Act. Maybe we'll put something out about that too. I'll look that up because I've never really seen a school not follow it. I don't
No,
I don't even know what happens.
that would be insane.
That would be.
Um,
Hopefully, no one ever
yeah.
experiences anything like that. But if you do know that you have a right to complain, know that there is a process. And
Yeah, so
yeah,
that's pretty much it. There's a lot of information, but yes, the main takeaways, doesn't matter what your situation is, for public education, your family always has rights. Even though it might be difficult and things are uncertain, it's very important to advocate for yourself and
it's
your
a very
child
important to advocate for yourself.
at all times. So yeah, thank you for listening and tuning in.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram
Yes, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
at the Urban Schoolhouse Podcast.
Yes, where school is cool.
School is so cool. Alrighty.